In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why the recession and the real estate market downturn is actually a golden opportunity for you as a real estate investor. Stay with me. We all know that we're in a recession. Depending on when you're watching this video, we're either entering the recession, we're in the middle of it. I don't know. It depends on when you're listening to this. But either way, there is a recession happening, and there's a real estate market turn. Over the last few years, we've seen all-time high house prices. Well, that's about to change. We're going to see an area that we're coming into now, or a time that we're coming into where prices are going to drop. How far they're going to drop, I don't know. It almost doesn't matter because prices are cooling off and going down in most areas. And for a real estate investor, that's a really good thing. The media will call this a real estate downturn. But a real estate downturn, for you as an investor, you should hear that as an opportunity. And here's why. The people that we buy from, sellers who are usually in some sort of a distress, right? They have job loss, job transfer, downsizing, death, divorce, all these things, tax delinquent, all these things that happen that cause them to want and need to sell at a discount very quickly to us as investors. Well, in a real estate downturn, the media is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. They're going to be telling sellers that their houses are losing value. And so the conversation that we have with sellers has to change a little bit, right? Over the last few years, sellers and us as investors haven't been having this discussion where the sellers are really in a position of power. Their house prices are going up. It's appreciating market. You know, they're able to sell for above asking in a lot of cases. And so it makes it very tough for us as investors. But coming up in this downturn, when prices are going down, the media, whose only job is to say things to make people tune in and watch the news, are going to be telling sellers that their houses are losing value. And while that's totally true, and they are going to be losing value in their homes, it's going to cause more motivation with sellers. And so when you're talking to them as a real estate investor, you could have that conversation with them. Did you watch the news? Have you seen what's happening in the real estate market? House prices are going down. Over the last few years, your house value went up, but now it's starting to go down. And so you can sell to me today at this price, whatever price you're offering them, or you can wait for a couple of months or 6 months and kind of see what the market does, but it's possible that your house will lose even more value. This isn't a scare tactic. This is not us trying to make them afraid. It's us telling them the truth. When real estate markets change, especially when it goes from a seller's market to a buyer's market, the last people to get on board with that are sellers. They don't want to hear or acknowledge that their houses are losing value. And I get that. It's human nature, right? We want to hang on to those really great markets where house prices are at an all-time high. I get that. It's so much better to think of your house as having a ton of value and increasing in value than the other way around. But the reality is it is the other way around now. And so when we have those discussions, we're able to leverage the media and leverage data to show them that their house values are going down, which makes it easier for us to buy. And so I talk to investors all the time, real estate investors from all over the country. And right now there is this unreasonable, and I can't even explain why, there's this concern that we're going from this really strong seller's market into more of a buyer's market. And I think it falls under the category of change is scary. And so if you're a real estate investor that wasn't around as an investor 4 or 5 years ago, when the market was more of a buyer's market, if you weren't around for that and you've only been around for this like soaring house prices era that we are just kind of getting out of now, then maybe you're a little bit nervous because when you go to sell a house, if you're a house flipper, house prices could be going down. And that's true. There's challenges on that side of it. But the good news is buying houses is going to be so much easier. And when I say buying, I mean from the sellers or even on the MLS, if that's where you're buying houses, wherever you're finding them, buying them as an investor is going to get so much easier. And that's a reason to be really, really excited. More opportunities, more deals coming your way that you can buy gives you a better opportunity to grow and expand and scale your business, which a lot of us are trying to do. So sellers are going to be selling at a lower price. The media is going to be helping us drive those buy prices down. When we're in the home, we can leverage the media, we can leverage data, we can leverage all that stuff to show them what's happening to their house value. So in a declining market, you tend to see increased motivation from sellers. And that's reason number one why your business should explode explode in 2022 and 2023 and maybe beyond. Reason number 2 why you should be so excited that we're in a recession and the market is going down in terms of values is it will bring new wholesalers into the market. Now, if you're a house flipper and you're buying from wholesalers, which a lot of house flippers do, there are going to be a rash of new wholesalers in because of reason number 1, right? It's easier to buy. There's more sellers that are more motivated. That draws more wholesalers into our industry. And when we do get new wholesalers in our industry, inevitably they just don't know the values of properties. They're not good at comping them. They're not good at coming up with prices. And so as a house flipper or a landlord, if you're using wholesalers to buy houses from, the fact of the matter is new wholesalers a lot of times don't know what they have. And so that means sometimes they ask way too much. Sometimes they don't ask nearly enough. They don't realize what a smoking good deal they have. And that allows you to buy at a more favorable price. A new wholesaler also is very open to help from experienced and seasoned investors. So if you're a seasoned house flipper, for example, and there's a new wholesaler in your market that seems to be finding good deals, it's a great time to go in and take them under your wing, help them comp properties, be a resource for them. In turn, they should be more willing and more likely to sell you their deals without making you compete against all the other flippers in your market. It's just a networking thing. It's a relationship thing. All of this business and pretty much any business is relationship based. Real estate's no different. You create relationship with these new wholesalers, help them become better at what they do, and in turn, create that relationship and that trust that will allow you to get more deals from them at a price that makes sense for everybody. So that's reason number 2. New wholesalers bring increased opportunity for all of us. Reason number 3, just like I said in reason number 2, this economy and this real estate market is going to bring in new wholesalers. It's also going to bring in new flippers. So if you're a wholesaler in this market and you have new flippers coming on board, this is a great opportunity for you to sell to them because their margins are going to be different. A lot of times when contractors, for example, don't have as much work, when there's a recession or when the real estate market kind of turns more toward a buyer's market and values start going down, a lot of contractors find themselves without enough work for their crew, and a lot of them turn to house flipping. Now, if a contractor becomes a house flipper, their margins and their costs are much different than ours as just like a regular investor who has to hire contractors. So if I find a house that I want to flip and I hire a general contractor, I'm getting his costs plus his fees and any markups that his subs have. But if I'm a contractor with all my own subs or my own crew and I go buy a house, instead of a house costing, like me as an investor, maybe it costs me $30,000 to flip a house all in, right? For my renovation costs. If I'm a contractor, that same property might only cost me $20,000, $25,000, which means I can pay more than my competition because my costs are a lot lower. So if I'm a wholesaler and these new house flippers, these new contractor house flippers are coming into the market and they can pay more, it does me a lot of good to identify those new house flippers who have different margins or maybe can work on lower margins. It does me a lot of good as a wholesaler to identify them, find them, bring them in, show them all of my deals, and hopefully get higher costs or higher sales price as a result. So that's reason number 3 that you should be very excited as a wholesaler because it's going to bring new flippers in that have different cost structures and different cost models, and a lot of times can and will pay more for your deals. Reason number 4 why you should be totally excited about the recession is because during a recession, stock values tend to drop. Now, why is that such a good thing? Because as investors, we need money. And a lot of times we're trying to raise private money. And if you're really, really good and you're really building a special business in real estate, you really should consider private money because it's the best form of money for our deals. And if we're raising private money while the stock market is at an all-time high, it makes it very difficult to have that conversation sometimes with people who have their money in the stock market. But those folks who have their money in the stock market during a recession are hurting, and they need to find some other avenue and some other way of of investing their money outside of the stock market. And by the way, the crypto market has been crushed lately too. And so if crypto is down, stock market's down, we have a lot of people out there, a lot of high net worth individuals who are looking for places to put their money. That's where we come in. We can offer them really great returns. And depending on what you're doing and how you're investing, we can offer them anywhere between 6, 8%, 10%, sometimes more, depending on the deal and depending on what we're doing. But we can definitely beat the stock market. And when the stock market's down, real estate always looks very attractive to investors. So if you're raising private money during a recession, you have so much more leverage and so much more things to talk to investors about and explain to them how real estate can be a great alternative to their struggling stock portfolio. Okay guys, that's it. My 4 reasons why the recession and the downturn in the real estate market is a huge opportunity that you should be taking advantage of and totally crushing it over the next 24 months.